We have some very seasoned voices from Maharashtra who are joining us on the broadcast. Varun Singh is a political analyst. Vaibhav Purandare is the senior editor at the Times of India. Chandra is a leader of the Shiv Sena. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us. Who should I come to first? Vaibhav, you first. What is it that we should be looking forward to when both leaders speak? Is it your sense, before I get to more intellectual questions, is it your sense that both leaders will time their speeches exactly with each other, or will they have the sense to at least have a 10-15-minute gap?
Well, it does look like it's going to be a clash in terms of timings as well. So, in every sense of the word, there's going to be a clash because they can't really delay their speech for far too long, with 10 o'clock being the deadline for finishing their speeches. They also need enough time to talk about the various points that they want to address. And obviously, the optics are going to be extremely important today. The day is all about optics. And while Shinde will underline the message of Hindutva and his Hindutva credentials and make a claim to being the real Shiv Sena and the real inheritor of Bal Thackre's legacy, Uddhav will, of course, harp on the fact that he is holding the rally at Shivaji Park, where Bal Thackre held his first ever rally in October 1966, after which the Sena has had a 50-year tradition of holding rallies there. So both sides will harp on their own credentials as the real Shiv Sena. That is certainly something we could look forward to.
That's something that we could look forward to. I understand that 10 o'clock is the deadline. Just to press you on that point, Vaibhav. But fact is that most political leaders now want to have headline speeches. I mean, prime time headline speeches. So for all you know, the speeches will start only at 9 o'clock. Hit prime time.
That's entirely possible, and I think each side would want to steal the show. And what we'll have to really look at is whether Eknath Shinde makes some sort of major announcement. They've already given some sort of hint that 5 more legislators of the Uddhav Thackeray faction may join them today, and also 2 MPs belonging to that faction. So if that really happens, then Eknath Shinde, regardless of the speeches that are delivered at the rally, will succeed in getting the headlines in his favor. And if that does not happen, of course, then it's going to be about the explosive revelations that are going to happen on either side. And well, both sides might anticipate attacks on each other and respond accordingly.
And of course, the fight is also as to who will generate the maximum headlines, whether it is Mr. Shinde or whether it is Uddhav Thackeray. Varun Singh, you are nodding your head there. What should we expect? I mean, of course, if there is a migration from the Uddhav Thackeray camp to the Eknath Shinde camp and it happens on stage today, that will be one of the major headlines. But what else should we be expecting, looking forward to?
To be honest, what I can see, I was roaming the streets of Mumbai since morning, and I am right now sitting in the Marathi heartland where Vaibhav also belongs to Girgaon. And over here also, I could see more of an excitement of people wanting to go to a farther destination, that is BKC, than stick to their original destination, that was Shivaji Park. You can see the tide moving towards Eknath Shinde slowly and gradually. Power does have that capacity. It works as a magnet. When you're powerful, people do come to you. And that is what is happening over here. You can clearly see Eknath Shinde and the crowd that he has managed to pull. And last, what I spoke to some people, some sources in the police also, they had sort of not allowing people to go to MMRDA, enter the ground, because it is already jam-packed. Till afternoon, I was told that around 2 lakh people from outside Mumbai have come in. And now slowly the people from Mumbai, Thane, nearby areas are going towards BKC, which is clearly evident that right now Eknath Shinde has managed to win the perception game, and politics is all about perception. He has managed to win that, and sadly, I have covered so many rallies of Balasaheb Thackeray at Shivaji Park. Sadly, to see that most of the people who have come to Shivaji Park this time, and probably what has hurt more to the Shiv Sena or Uddhav Thackeray's credibility in the last few days is more openly the Congress spokesperson and city spokesperson coming on news channels saying that we will fill the ground, we will fill the ground. That has also sent out a message to most of the Socialists that, okay, they have managed to get someone, so they are going towards the Eknath Shinde camp. And as I said, as Vaibhav correctly pointed out, that more people will be joining And that would be a clear show of strength when we have MPs like, okay, I would name them because we do not have a confirmation yet, but more MPs and MLAs, especially those MLAs from these regions where Uddhav Thackeray and his Shiv Sena is more stronger.
Oh, that will be a terrible embarrassment and a terrible headline for the Uddhav camp. Chandrasekhar Jha, you are on the Uddhav Sena. You're on the side of the Uddhav Sena. If it has come to a position where the Congress party has had to pitch in with support to fill in the ground at Shivaji Park, is it time to give up the fight?
See, how do you gather these informations? I don't know. We are having Shiv Sainiks of more than 1 crore in total India. And even if you believe that the crowd at Shivaji Park will cross around 15 to 20 lakhs, in every situation, if you say that real Shiv Sena, the real Shiv Sena is still with us. It has not gone to any other faction. It is a question of dispute which is being continued in courts. So in any manner, we are the actual Shiv Sena, and it is not a question of embarrassment or something like that. Because the question of embarrassment comes to that faction. They have to prove their prestige. We don't have to prove our prestige. We are already into the ground. We are already doing our work. And I don't think that our prestige is at any way at stake.
Sir, obviously it is your prestige that is at stake, right? I mean, okay. I'll let Vaibhav speak. Go ahead. Why don't you want to come in? Go ahead.
Share just one small thing. The biggest problem with the Shiv Sena right now on the campus, they are, living a life of ignorance. I don't think Mr. Jha has ever attended any rally at Shivaji Park. Shivaji Park's capacity is 1.5 lakhs, not 15 lakhs to 20 lakhs. Secondly, I remember on your channel, I was on a show with Mr. Jha when the Congress spokesperson, Mr. Londe, had clearly said that we will be filling the crowd at Shivaji Park, and Jha was sitting over there. So when he says that where are we getting our information, these are your own people who are giving out the information, not some random person who comes and says that, Congress and NCP people are filling the ground. You were there, and again, Shivaji Park capacity is not more than 1 lakh to 2 lakhs. And even if people fill out on the streets, it can't go to 15 lakhs people. I'm extremely sorry to point this out to someone which party has held almost 50 rallies over there till now.
Mr. Jha, would you want to respond to that? Itna bhi kite flying theek nahi hai na?
We never bring crowds with consideration. That faction is bringing crowds with certain considerations, and we all know how these things have been.
Please help us understand. What are you trying to say?
They are continuously giving considerations for bringing crowd. They are continuously using considerations for bringing.
When you say consideration, you mean money?
Faction. Yes.
You mean inducement?
Naturally.
You mean money? Okay.
Because the state presidents have also been given consideration to go to that faction. And we all know very clearly how much money they have spent.
Okay, so you have already admitted, Vaibhav, then the spokesperson of the Uddhav Sena has already admitted, even before the rallies start, that Mr. Eknath Shinde's BKC rally is going to have a huger turnout than what we will see at Shivaji Park.
I think that's a reflection of how the Uddhav Thackeray faction is really foundering and struggling in its responses. Number one, as Varun correctly pointed out, anybody with a modicum of understanding of Maharashtra's political culture and the political culture at Shivaji Park knows that Shivaji Park can barely accommodate 1 lakh people. The second thing is the MMRDA grounds where Shinde is holding his rally are much bigger. So Shinde would require a bigger crowd to show that the ground is full. And now we have the Sena man here conceding that he is going to have the bigger rally. Now, in fact, Shinde starts off with a big advantage. The advantage is that for the first time in the history of the Shiv Sena since 1966, somebody is holding a parallel rally claiming to be the real Shiv Sena. This has never happened. Now, this in itself is a major challenge to the Sena. There is an opportunity for the Uddhav Thackeray faction also. What is that opportunity? The opportunity is to show that you actually have support on the ground. You have the support of the cadre, and there can be an attempt to galvanize the cadre, especially ahead of the BMC polls, which are going to be a a major battle for the Shiv Sena, the Uddhav Thackeray faction, I mean, which is facing some sort of existential crisis. So the fact is that Shinde starts off with an advantage, and if he does muster a bigger crowd, that itself will mean that he has succeeded in winning the perception battle, regardless of the fact that the Sena, the Uddhav faction, succeeds in filling up Shivaji Park, because it's easier to fill up Shivaji Park than filling up the MMRDA grounds.
So, Mr. Chandrasekhar Jha, what was the point even in fighting over the venue? Maybe it's a good thing that, I mean, yes, of course, it is a good thing that you got Shivaji Park, but this question actually was for Varun. Varun, in that sense, then, it's probably a good thing that the Shinde camp didn't get Shivaji Park, because this is their chance to prove, hey, you guys mustered whatever, 1 lakh people, look at me, I got this many, which is thrice the number you got, or the four times the number you got.
To be honest, I don't think since day one, the BJP and the Shinde camp was interested in Shivaji Park. If they would have got it, they would have celebrated a lot. But what they managed successfully was to make Uddhav work up. The Uddhav camp actually, the way they worked during all this time to get the Shivaji Park venue for the rally, it categorically showed how easy it was to make the Uddhav camp right now be on its feet, feel the tension, and actually feel the heat, to be honest. And not only that, why would a BJP or a Shiv Sena give the opportunity to Uddhav Thackeray by denying him Shivaji Park to gain sympathy? They actually played their cards well. They actually did what they wanted to. They made Uddhav look vulnerable. They made Shiv Sena, led by Uddhav, vulnerable. And they have also given him Shivaji Park, and at the same time are holding a huge big rally to show, okay, see what we have, who is the real Shiv Sena, especially in Mumbai. When you have a rally with 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 4 lakh people, and a rally with hardly 50,000 or 1 lakh people, especially when you have allies who have already damaged you by saying that we are going to fill your ground, we are going to bring in people. It has worked. I would say, I hate to use this word because it is overused, but it is a brilliant masterstroke, either played by Shinde or either played by his advisors in the BJP or his advisors. And it is clearly evident when you see by the evening, when there is a huge crowd. Already, if you check with your reporters, the crowd that I'm getting information on my other phone right now is that more people have gathered at MMRDA than compared to Shivaji Park.
Okay, thank God. Masterstroke is overused, but there is one terminology in TV that is used even more often. It's used for any situation. It's called surgical strike. I'm grateful you didn't. I'm grateful you didn't use that. Vaibhav, I mean, what's the question I ask you here? Is it over for Uddhav Thackeray and his family? I mean, he is, after all, the son of Balasaheb Thackeray. I'm assuming that people in Mumbai and people in Maharashtra still have a soft corner for the guy. His track record as chief minister was fairly satisfactory. He comes across as a no-nonsense person who's never been rude to anyone. At least this is what it seems like when you watch him on television. Is there any soft spot for Uddhav Thackeray, and can he rise from where he is right now? Because it can't get any worse, can it? Apart from, of course, some of his MPs and MLAs probably joining the Shinde camp today.
It's wrong to write off someone entirely in politics. You know that as well as I do, that you can't really say that somebody's finished. But there are certain things that are necessary to make some sort of fight back in politics. When you're fighting with your back to the wall, there are certain qualities that are necessary. One is hard work. Two is approachability and accessibility. Three is a tremendous amount of dedication to politics and to full-time politics. And all three things are missing as far as Uddhav Thackeray is concerned. And that's the popular perception. That there's hard work that's missing. The accessibility is zero, which has been one of the complaints of his own party people and of those who have split from the Sena right now and gone away from him and formed their own faction right now. And the third is that the fact that, you want to dedicate yourself full time to politics. The problem that the Rahul Gandhis of this world have, that, they want to indulge in politics, but only part time. And that does not really work. Also, the fact that the Shiv Sena has a serious incumbency issue in Mumbai, where the most important election for the Uddhav Thackeray faction is soon going to be around. You know, the Sena's existence is going to be depending on the results of the BMC elections. Its 30-year-old record in the BMC, which it has been ruling Asia's and India's richest civic body with an annual budget of over 30,000 crore, and in fact close to 40,000 crore, a budget that even smaller Indian states don't have. With that kind of budget, the state that Mumbai is in reflects very poorly on the Shiv Sena's performance in the BMC. And there has been plenty of talk about corruption, about bad roads, about bad infra, and even about stalling projects like the important metro project in Mumbai. And while there is a perception in sections of the media and among the non-Shiv Sena constituency that the MVA was a good experiment, the perception is exactly the opposite as far as the average Shiv Sena supporter and the core Shiv Sena constituency of the Marathi Manus, as they call it, is concerned. Because they were acutely uncomfortable with the MVA arrangement. The Shiv Sena grew by leaps and bounds because it took on Sharad Pawar in the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s. And to join hands with Pawar was, in a sense, a political bankruptcy, is the perception in the minds of people who are sympathetic to the Shiv Sena. So the Sena has lost its moorings. Now, a party can certainly reinvent itself by taking on a completely new ideology. But has it taken on that new avatar in a genuine manner? No, the record of the MVA government suggested that it has not taken on that avatar in a genuine manner, but it is all for the sake of appearances. And what you have as memory from the MVA times is Sachin Waze, Anil Deshmukh, Nawab Malik, abusive language by some of the Shiv Sena spokespersons who are unfortunately now in jail, a slew of corruption cases. So it's going to be difficult, but political reinvention is possible if Uddhav Thackeray puts his mind to it and is really serious about fighting back.
Okay. We leave it there then, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Would have been good for us if you had joined us at 8 p.m. as well when the rallies actually begin. But I understand your need to actually tune in and hear what the two protagonists in the story are going to be saying exactly. So thank you very much, Vaibhav. Thank you, Varun. And thank you, Mr. Jha, for joining us on the broadcast. 8